Cucurella. Sorry, I can't help it. Every time I hear that name, I get, where's your head at? Where's your head at? Anyway, welcome back to another video. I'm so ready to be done. It's really obvious, isn't it? Stephen here, back with another video talking about transfers and all that kind of usual stuff. Don't forget to give the video a big like. And don't forget to support the channel by downloading OneFootball by clicking the link in the description or scanning that QR code next to my face. If you want to get all your transfer goodness, all the latest Cucurella news and all that kind of stuff, and of course, all the news about people like Phillips who've been linked to and all the outgoings, download OneFootball and get every notification sent straight to your phone. So if you sat there, I don't know, in work or whatever, and you're just feeling a little bit bored, you've done the thing where you go to the loo and you get your phone and you're just there, you're scrolling, you'll see all the notifications of all the big transfer news. So you can stay up to date with all the pub chat and all that kind of stuff about football, and you'll know what's going on from across the world, not just Manchester City, all the transfer goodness and all the stats. So download it right now, help support my channel, do yourself a big favour. So as you know, I was badly singing about Marc Cucurella at the start of this video, because Manchester City, of course, have been linked quite heavily with him. So I've been asking a question in this video, like, are City going to sign Cucurella? Like, I don't know the direct answer, but I'm going to give my personal opinion, what I think will happen here. In a nutshell, I think they will. I'm going to say it very simply off top of this video, but we're going to talk about the ramifications of it, and why, and all this kind of stuff, and how likely and when maybe it could happen, all this kind of thing. Now, the obvious bit of news here is that Marc Cucurella pretty obviously wants to be a Manchester City player. We all sort of know this. We all do. It's been really obvious for a few weeks now. Like, I think you talked about if you get a chance to play for a club like that, you take it and all this kind of stuff. He really wants to go, and I think it's really obvious that Manchester City want him. Why would they want him? Well, Marc Cucurella is a fantastic player who essentially was Brighton's player of the year this year. Ex-𝐿𝐼𝐴 trained as well. If you don't know much about him, I'm going to get his stats up for this season. 23 years old, left back, 35 appearances this year for Brighton. He's been great for them. They got him from Getafe, where he was great in La Liga. And of course, before that, he was at Barcelona, loaned to Eibar and Getafe as well. 𝐿𝐼𝐴 product that they let go, that I once saw rip our under-19s in the UEFA Youth League to pieces. A fantastic fullback and a complete fullback as well, that I actually think would probably take Manchester City like to another level. And what I mean by that is he's not going to win as the Champions League, but what I mean by that is in terms of he'll offer a genuine, proper, good old-fashioned left-back option with natural width and determination and chance creation from that side as well. We do get a bit of that, of course, from when we see 𝐿𝐼𝐴, Cancelo there, but I can't wait for someone who's ultimately incredibly comfortable. That's not to say 𝐿𝐼𝐴 or Cancelo, because I think they're both fantastic and very capable there. In Cancelo's case, he's literally in the Premier League Team of the Year playing there. But I want to see Cucurella because I think it gives us options every now and then to try things a little bit differently, you know, and change the way that we play. And I think he would really suit this role. He was up there with chances created alongside the likes of Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson at left back. He was up there with tackles as well, once again alongside those kind of people at the top, which is really, really impressive. And Brighton know what they've got here. Now, all the rumours initially were around 30 million-ish that Manchester City would get him for that price. But of course, that price keeps rising and rising and rising. And today's reports, as I'm filming this, and this is a spoiler for you, I'm recording this on Thursday because currently I'm in a stag do in Lisbon. So if you're wondering where I am right now, yeah, I recorded this a couple of days ago because I wanted to have some content for the weekend. As I'm currently recording this, the report suggested from Martin Blackburn, nonetheless, who's a very well-connected Manchester City-based journalist, doesn't work for Manchester City, of course. He's for the Sun, but he's a Northwest correspondent. He understands his stuff. He's connected. Apparently, they're asking for around 40 million plus. So they're seeing the average market for fullbacks, and they are pushing that "give us more money" button. I understand why they do that, because City, unfortunately, we do have a rep for signing players, especially fullbacks, for an awful lot of money. You know, Walker, Cancelo, he who shall not be named. We do have a rep for signing expensive fullbacks. So Brighton aren't stupid. They will get as much money as they can at Manchester City. But I think City probably expected this. City aren't stupid either. Now, I suspect City are relatively comfortable with it, and I suspect City don't really want to get into, like a bad blood relationship with Brighton. I think Brighton probably don't want either. I know personally for a fact, you don't have to trust me if you don't want to, but I know for a fact that Brighton started looking for a fullback replacement for him a couple of weeks back now. They already started sounding out for a new replacement. You just hear stuff every now and then from agents and people like that. And Brighton essentially resigned themselves to losing him already. They didn't want to, but they've accepted it. As soon as they start looking for a replacement, they're essentially just stalling now to get as much money as they can and lock down their replacement. So I do think this is going to happen. I think we're just essentially going over the finer details. One thing I find interesting is that, according to some reports from Martin Blackburn, is that McAtee could go on loan to Brighton as a make-way. I saw a couple of people on forums suggest that Delap has been offered too. I find that really interesting. I would be very happy for Brighton to have both of those players. I think they'd learned so much under Graham Potter, a manager that I really, really rate. I've talked about it in recent videos, but when you look at the past maps as well of how teams play, Brighton are essentially a little bit of a mini Manchester City that way. They play really good, progressive, exciting attacking football, and these are the exact kind of players that would fit into their system. And I absolutely trust, from the bottom of my heart, Graham Potter to help them develop, because I think that getting Premier League experience would really develop them. I mean, like for Delap in particular, if they want him, I mean, look, they've got 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐴, who's a wily old Premier League professional. He's been around the block. He knows how to play at this level. He's a decent player, 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐴. He is, to be fair to him. He's not top class or anything like that, but he's seen a lot. He's seen a lot and played at the highest level. So I think that would be a great way for Delap to learn alongside that experience, and he would get chances, and he would get games, and he probably would get goals, because Brighton have always created chances, but not always taken them. It's always been their downfall. And McAtee as well, he's the kind of person that fits massively into that system. So imagine if he went to Brighton and played there for a couple of years on loan or something like that. I don't know. And then we've got a situation where like 𝐿𝐿𝐴 is getting a bit older and ready to move on. Bernardo's still testing the waters a little bit, allegedly. But imagine 𝐿𝐿𝐴 leaves in a year or so after running his contract down, which is reportedly a thing that could happen. So you've got McAtee, who's then got Premier League experience, and we know that he's potentially ready to come back into the squad. That, to me, is quite powerful. So I think there's a lot of good that could come from this. I would really not be against the idea of a 2-year loan for someone like him. I'm not sure if he wants to do that, and James knows exactly what he's doing. He's a smart young lad. Likewise, Liam. But Premier League experience for these two very good youngsters, it should be a relationship, in my opinion, with Brighton that we should try and foster and develop, because they are such a good, well-run team with such a good manager, with such a good playing style, that I feel like, of course, given the money that they want for this within reason, but let them see if they'll take some of our young players. Apparently, they've never really wanted to take young players on loan that they didn't want to sign, but some people suggested this could be a different thing, because once again, the talent of these players, free squad depth for them. Look, it seems like a really good idea. There are reports that Chelsea are looking around Cucurella too, especially given the fact Marcos Alonso's going, and Ben Chilwell, of course, has been really injured this season. But, I think Cucurella would actually choose Manchester City over Chelsea. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think he wants to play, look, he's a Barcelona lad, the ex-Barcelona lad. He's going to come to Pep Guardiola's side if Pep Guardiola wants him. And I think Cucurella would be fantastic. I've really grown on this idea. I do think it's going to happen. I think we will have to be patient, but to me, it ticks every box in terms of what it'll bring to the team. It'll bring natural width, energy, aggression, drive. I think you could get even better under Guardiola as well. Guardiola, of course, has a fantastic reputation with fullbacks. I mean, look, go through his game in general, what he's done to people with fullbacks. I know some have moved into midfield, like Lahm, for example, but look how good he was. Look how good he was with people like David Alaba. And of course, he turned Fabian Delph into a Premier League winning fullback. Zinchenko did the same. Of course, Kyle Walker's become probably the best one-on-one defensive right back in the world. Cancelo got in the Premier League Team of the Year as a converted left back, and then you go back to Barcelona days, Dani Alves and, Jordi Alba and people like that. So Guardiola knows a thing or two about a fullback. Abidal as well at one point. Have I made that up about Alba? I'm pretty certain he was there when Guardiola was there, wasn't he? I just want to double check it there just to make sure I'm not talking nonsense. But Guardiola really just genuinely he just knows it. He gets it. He understands it. Yeah, of course he was. So I think it was as Guardiola was moving on, to be fair. But either way, look, Guardiola understands fullbacks. Cucurella gets that, and I want Cucurella at Manchester City, and I do think it'll happen. Haaland, Alvarez, Cucurella, and of course Phillips is the other one that we're talking about here. I think probably all four might happen. I think City will be very fine and happy with that, and I think we should have a very good summer in the transfer market. I want to see Cucurella come in, and I would honestly be very comfortable with McAtee and Delap going alone. I know people will say let him stay and fight for the squad, but Delap, to me, look, it's really hard. It's going to be Haaland, it's going to be Alvarez, and then it's probably going to be the false nine system ahead of him once again. So it's hard for him to get the game time. He just needs to play regular football and develop. And McAtee, there's a chance there potentially for him here and there, but he might want to play a bit more regularly, especially given the fact that Cole Palmer is probably a little bit ahead of him right now, and it's still going to be Gundogan, Bernardo, De Bruyne, and people like that. And maybe Phillips coming in with Rodri to challenge. It's going to be very hard for him. Guys, let me know what you think will happen. Are you excited about the idea of Cucurella? Do you think he'll come? Do you think McAtee should go on loan? Delap should? Let me know down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch you tomorrow for another video.